since yesterday or the day before yesterday, we have had the idea of fusing texts and dance and poetry. So you are very much part of an experiment today. And I just want to say a bit, I want to tell you a bit about the poetry. It's actually Abdilatif, Abdalla and me and 11 other people whom you can see on the second slide. Yeah. Many other people, we've been working on translating Swahili poetry for the last 6 years. And so we are a group of East African scholars. Others are based in Europe and the US. And we have most of this poetry is actually from the beginning of the 19th century. So it's among the earliest poetry we actually have from the East African coast. It's attributed to a very important political figure, Bwana Zaidi Mgumi. So he was a political leader on the island of Lamu, almost the border to Somalia. So it's an island in Kenya, now really at the margin of the nation state, very close to Somalia. And at his time, he was not only, well, he was an elected political leader, very powerful on the battlefield as a military leader as well, because he defeated the much more powerful, city-state, the neighboring city-state of Pate. And before he did that, they actually exchanged lots of poetry in the field, because that's quite common of the 18th and 19th century. All political figures, all important political leaders were also important poets in the Swahili context, or the other way around. You could not become a political leader, you could not become elected if you were not also a very prominent poet. So later on then, people decided, because he's still very much part of people's memory, people also remember lines attributed to him, but already in the 19th century there was the idea these songs, the kind of poems, they are going to get lost. So people started to write them down, and they used Arabic script, because that was the normal script before the colonial powers, the British and the German, actually introduced Roman script. So we have lots of different manuscripts from East Africa, as well as from mostly Berlin, Hamburg, and London. Now, to face the challenges of the language, which is very difficult, not only because it's poetry, it plays a lot with allusions, you'll see that. It's a very boastful language. It's a language of poetic dueling, and it really, so to say, kind of teases the opponent a lot. I think you'll hear that, you hear the tone. And so the allusions are very difficult to grasp, and as well the language is not the language that is being spoken in Kenya nowadays. It's a very archaic kind of language, and that's the reason why we are doing this as a group, because one can only, so to say, work through this as a joint effort. Now, through all this, I'm not going to make this long. I could talk about this for 3 hours, but I won't. So the poems, and actually they were very much part of dance competitions, and we can't really grasp very well how people performed these poems, how they were integrated, because simply we don't have any historical records. We still have dances nowadays, but of course they are the dances, the contemporary dances, and not the dances which were danced at the beginning of the 19th century. And there is lots of reference to musical instruments. And all the time, our group, we've been discussing, we should put this poetry, we should make it come alive again. So putting dance and musical instruments to it. And now it was actually Ute who had the idea, why don't you try to, to talk to each other without even knowing our group internal discussions of how to kind of make the poetry sound again. And this is you're definitely not going to hear how the poetry sounded at the beginning of the 19th century, but you're going to hear, so to say, a very multi-layered, hopefully, interpretation of, and probably continuation of the poems. And now I think I'll stop here, and probably the next slide is then can show us, can you just put to the next slide? Yeah, so this is one of the manuscripts that we have in the background. So this is what we've been working on, and we continue to work on. All right, so now, Tao, I think I want to call you on stage.
Guten Abend. Verni vado, alla nazi bahitani. Verni vado, alla nazi mazama. Verni vado, alla nazi bahitani. Verni vado, verni vado. Sa fura che dura bagno Angazzi ma piazza ma una corda bel vi Rabo di mate Sa fura che dura bagno Rabo di mate Rabo di mate Rabo di mate Wow Wow Zamba, 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 zawe. Zamba, 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 zawe. So easy in un rano turun vatu vakin fuku la so easy in un rano turun vatu vakin fuku Luis don't you hear me? Baby, don't you hear me calling name? Louise, 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 Louise. Louise, 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 Louise. Don't you see me, baby? Don't you see me sad and blue? Oh, Louise, 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 Louise.
Paliza wombe. Paliza wombe hauni kusi nguvu na mshindo. Ziumawe ukumbini uivumize janundo. Ilingane makuhani, majimbi wasiwe kando. Nyoyo wafungule fundo, utimbijike tuseme.
Loudly ask for accompaniment. In rhythmically clapping your hands, let them reverberate in the hall like the sound of a hammer, so that it calls the wise ones, and the roosters should not sideline themselves. They should open their hearts. We should assemble and talk.
Mwambisi, pijato pembe kangaya patu ukaze. Wakitokoma wapambe, muwe wa nguvu kupaza. Watukufu leo vimbe, na wanangwa wakiteza. Keshole mukiauza, kwa mahalape ya kome.
Strike the horn well, and beat the gong loudly. When the elegant ladies raise their voices, you should clap even louder. So the noble ones should sing today, and young ones dance. When you next ask about it, it should end at its place.
Ya tuhuma yasiwepo, dhana na kuniakisi, ya hila na maongopo kuwaongopa siisi, mukifuata nilipo, sambeni si wafuasi, dhihini wapo pesi, mutaiuta kinyume.
There should not be suspicions nor thoughts opposing me. No tricks, no lies. I cannot lie to you. If you agree with my opinion, don't say I do not follow you. If you are dim-witted, you will regret it later.
Paliza nyinji vundile kwa pembe ya nyati yende, mshindowe mujumule kwamba mangi kimlinde, watasi malenga mbele, wambao nyuma katende, niwatizame mahundi watezilepo na komo.
Loudly break the silence. The sound of the buffalo horn goes out. You should gather by the beat. The poets who want to perform should come forward, who are behind. I should watch them when they dance.
Kasidi ya gungusili lina na mapendelewa ya kuweka mwao mbali na misemo kutasua, nionyani kwa dalili litendekalo likawa, muuza jambo chambiwa, ndio ladha ya masemo.
This gungu has a purpose, as well as expectations. To bring an end to lamenting and complaining, and to unravel your sayings. Show me evidence of that which is being done and will be accomplished. The questioner being answered, that is the joy of a conversation.
Ambani kama nambao, harufu za kuhitari. Malenga mukuteneo kualiji ubasiri. Mseme masemo yangu na mwao, museme kwa kujijiri, kurudiwa kwa shairi, unzani mwao muwemo.
Talk as I do, with well-chosen words, you the experts who are assembled here, to handle wisely my words and complaints by speaking openly. If you want to be corrected poetically, you who are part of it, perform the moi well.
Panikandi wendaniwa. Panikandi wendaniwa na mishindo na kelele. Patu lizidi kusitawa liwete waliokule. nina mawili maua, masikani ndiwa pale, tauani ni wambile, aembe yao kuyenga.
Give me the golden gong, my friends, and beats and applause. Its sound should intensify, so that it summons those who are afar. I have 2 flowers. Doves are settling there, and I'm telling you to choose. One should come forward and see.
Walingene na Swabuni na Jamali na Kadiri, Kulume ni madiwani na Kuke ni mawaziri. Sifa zao ndiwa nyuni ni mezile wahubiri, mbwenu wenye kuhitari azidi leo kutenga.
They belong to the same lineage. They are equal in beauty and status. On the paternal side, people are counselors, and on the maternal side, there are senior advisors. The dove's reputation, I've already told you about it. It's up to you to choose, to select the one who is better.
Katika sayo kutaya habaini na ya hali, ni mwemba mbifu mmoya hakukithiri mwili, na wapili na wambia mnene hana mithili, atambi epuki mbali akaoneka kuzinga.
In what I say, I will distinguish them by their appearances. One is slim. She does not have much bulk, and the second one, I'm telling you, she's unusually plump. She does not wander around, but she strolls close by.
Muhibu wangu. Muhibu wangu mngwana ni wene wako haraka. Kifahamia maana kiteko kikanishika. Nguo muyapofungana zitawakusa mashaka. Mtotea zisowaka usiri kuwa kizani.
My dear sir, I've seen your letter, and as I understood its meaning, I burst out laughing. Tying yourselves together will cause trouble for you. He who lights firewood that won't burn remains in darkness.
Simba kiwa mawindoni afunui za kendole, uzivika mtangani muindwa asiziole, uliza utasakani muinga uzingatile, nyoka za ngongo umbile atuchi situtisheni.
A lion on the prowl does not show its claws. It hides them in the sand, invisible to its prey. You better make sure, you ignorant one, pay attention. We do not fear snakes made out of palm leaf strips, so do not threaten us.
Hatuchi situtisheni, hatuituki mishindo. Tangu kae na zamani tuwazoevu wa kondo, ivu la moto na kuni walilitenda kitendo. Siku ya kutinda fundo tutaonana fundoni.
We don't fear. Don't scare us. We are not frightened of your clamor. From time immemorial, we have been accomplished fighters. We will turn you into ashes of firewood as we did in the past. And on the decisive day, we will meet on the battlefield.
Thank you.
give another round of applause to Abdilatif Abdalla, who is one of the biggest Kenyan poets. He has a beautiful collection in translation coming out of his own poetry, which he wrote in prison, the first political prisoner of independent Kenya. But he is also such a treasure, and he knows so much about his old language. So, nakushukuru kweli. Thank you.
So we can give a nice round of applause for my 2 stars over here.